Honorable Khai,
Yes, we do, Advocate.
Honorable Boshoff,
Honorable Boshoff is here, Advocate.
Honorable Ngwezi,
Honorable Ngwezi is also here, Advocate.
Honorable Mvoko,
Honorable Mvogo is also on the platform.
Honorable Bartman,
Honorable Bartman was here earlier. Oh yeah, she's here, Advocate.
okay. Honorable Mamarakan,
She's also here, Advocate.
Honorable Mkacho,
Also here, Advocate.
okay. Honorable Matewula,
Honorable Matebula is here also, yes.
Honorable Lont, Honorable DeBrain,
Honorable Lont is not on the platform. No, he's here, Advocate. Honorable Lont is on the platform.
Honorable DeBrain,
Honorable DeBrain is also on the platform, Advocate.
Honorable Broughton,
Honorable Broughton is here, Advocate.
Ambassador Dango,
Honorable delegates, we now shall proceed to the third order of the day, policy debate on budget vote number 36, small business development appropriation bill. Let me take this opportunity to welcome the Minister, Chaveni, Deputy Minister, our special delegates. I will now call upon Honorable Minister Chaveni
On a point of order before we start.
of small business development to open the debate. Honorable Minister.
A point of order, please, Chair. Point of order, please, House Chair.
Honorable Ryder.
Thank you, House Chair. Thank you very much. House Chair, I don't believe we can continue without first addressing what just transpired at the end of the previous debate. And I think that when the House Chair makes a ruling, it must be enforced. The fact that that ruling was not enforced and the Minister was not made to withdraw leaves this House with a serious problem. House Chair, if we were sitting in the House in Cape Town, that behavior would never have been permitted. And House Chair, I definitely think this needs to be referred to the Ethics Committee if necessary, and we need to have an outcome to that point of order. And the fact that that Minister ignored you totally, didn't hear when you were asking her to take the point of order, and also did not withdraw following your ruling, this needs to be dealt with, House Chair.
Honorable Ryder, even though we're going to start a new debate, but let me indicate that in the previous ruling, a question was raised that is it parliamentary to call a member of parliament a puppet? I said it's not parliamentary. I never said any minister or member must withdraw. If you remember very well, the minister never referred to any particular member. That is why even honorable member at the end was specific to say if it was referred to him, he was even ready to take minister head on. But there's nothing wrong for it to be referred to the relevant structure to look at it. Thanks for that. I want just to clarify the ruling. The ruling was not for a minister to withdraw. I just made a general comment that you can't refer to a member as a puppet. And that statement by the minister never referred to any specific member. It was a general statement. Let us continue with the debate. Let's allow the Minister of Small Business Development to open the debate. Honorable Minister.
Honorable Chairperson, the Deputy Minister of Small Business Development, Mamar Nokzola Rosemary Kapa, the Chairperson and Honorable members of the Select Committee on Trade and Industry, Economic Development, Small Business Development, Tourism, Employment and Labor, Comrade Mandla Atlai, Honorable Permanent Delegates to the NCOP, the Director General of the Department of Small Business Development, representatives of the boards of directors of SEDA and SIFA, ladies and gentlemen. 45 years ago, young people across the country fought against Bantu education. The 1976 student uprisings triggered another wave of mass rebellions led by the students and youth of our country against the apartheid system. Their struggle for a free South Africa was also a struggle for economic freedom in our lifetime. To achieve the aspirations of the 1976 youth and the generations of youth that preceded and succeeded them, the governing party has mandated us to deliver a non-racial, non-sexist, prosperous, and equal society. We are holding this policy debate on how the small business sector can contribute to a prosperous and equal South Africa in a year that the African Continental Free Trade Area, AfCFTA, came into effect on the 1st of January 2021. We celebrate this milestone and the commitment of the African leadership to forge ahead with the economic integration despite the challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic. We are fully aware that the goals of the AfCFTA and the African Union's Agenda 2063 of transformed economies and jobs will not be realized without the contribution of the AU's individual member states to transform their own economies and create jobs. South Africa's path to economic transformation and job creation is guided by the Vision 2030 as espoused in the National Development Plan. The COVID-19 pandemic has provided a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to ensure that by 2030, South Africa has a more diversified economy. To achieve this, we will need to revert to what the architects of the NDP advocated for, which is being to intensify the simulation of local and foreign markets and strengthening conditions to promote labor-absorbing activities. To be specific on matters affecting small businesses, the NDP proposes what must be done, and it proposes 5 things. So, A, increase exports focusing on, amongst other, construction, mid-skill manufacturing, agriculture and agro-processing, tourism and business services. 2, to reduce costs of regulatory compliance. 3, to create larger, more effective innovation system closely aligned with firms that operate in sectors consistent with the growth strategy. D, to support for small businesses through better coordination by relevant agencies, development finance institutions, and public and private incubators. And lastly, to strengthen financial services to bring down the cost and improve access for small, medium-sized businesses. And also the NDP commits us to make a commitment to public and private procurement approaches that stimulate domestic industry and job creation, and also to a labor market that is more responsive to economic opportunities that requires, amongst others, the review of regulations and standards for small and medium enterprises. Honorable Chairperson, the budget for the Department of Small Business Development for the 2021-2022 financial year and the midterm expenditure framework estimates is as follows, and it will be used towards achieving the goals of the NDP Vision 2030 and the AU's Agenda 2063, and guided by the Economic Reconstruction and Recovery Plan. For 2021, we have a total allocation of 2.5 billion rands, and for that, administration will receive 116.3 million. Sector and market development will receive 138.8 million. Development finance will receive 1.3 billion. And enterprise development will receive 902.3 million. And Honorable Chairperson, in terms of classification of this budget, the compensation of employees received 152.4 million, goods and services 81.6 million, transfers and subsidies 2.2 billion, and payments for capital assets 4.4 million. The total, it runs up to the amount that I indicated earlier. This budget allocates 868 million of the transfers and subsidies to CEDA. From the CEDA allocations, 405 million is for the provincial budgeted expenditure, which is broken down as follows: Eastern Cape 47 million, Free State 42.4 million, Gauteng 33.8 million, KwaZulu-Natal 60.6 million, Limpopo 42.7 million, Mpumalanga 39 million, Northern Cape 40 million, Northwest 41.5 million, Western Cape 57.9 million, which amounts to the 405 million. We remain committed to the strengthening and expansion of CEDA's presence across the country with a goal of maintaining a CEDA office in each district of our country. The 57.9 million for the Western Cape supports the Red Doors or business information centers that CEDA took over from the Western Cape government when they could not support them. In this financial year, we'll commence the work of assessing the location of these Red Doors business information centers with the purpose of relocating them to the townships and rural areas of the Western Cape that remain underserviced by the provincial government. The enterprise development work of SEDA is frontline of our services to SMMEs, including cooperatives. Through the SEDA network of branches, the department assists SMMEs and cooperatives to comply with regulatory requirements, thus reducing the cost thereof, labor market, that is creating a labor market that is more responsive to economic opportunities. Ladies and gentlemen, the work of the department and its agencies is structured and coordinated under the SMME support plan towards the attainment of Vision 2030 that was adopted in 2019. This plan consists of 10 programs, namely SMME focused localization, which is enabled by the Small Enterprise Manufacturing Support Program, Township and Rural Entrepreneurship Program, which is known as TREP, Incubation Digital Hubs Rollout Program, Startup Nation, Young Entrepreneur Support, She Trades ZA, SMME Business Infrastructure Support, Cooperative Support, SMME Scale Up or Expansion Program, and Informal Business Support. On the Startup and Nation Incubation and Digital Hubs program, an amount of 157 million of the transfers and subsidies to SEDA is allocated to the SEDA Technology Program. The SEDA Technology Program is responsible for 4 sub-programs of the SMME support plan, which is the Startup Nation Incubation and Digital Hubs program, Product Standard Conformity and Technology Transfer. The department has set itself a target to establish 270 incubation and digital hubs by 2024. To date, 101 incubators have been established that set on the set target of the 96 against the set target of 96, which include 22 centers for entrepreneurship and rapid incubation in TVET colleges and universities, including an additional 4 centers at University of Johannesburg, Soweto in Gauteng, Rose University, Makanda campus in the Eastern Cape, Nelson Mandela University and the Berwa campus in the Eastern Cape, and the University of Venda in Tando campus in Limpopo. Some of the CEFRIs at TVET colleges include those in the Northern Cape, Rural TVET, in DR and Katu campuses. In Maluti, the Maluti TVET College in Pudatichaba campus in the Free State, West Coast TVET College in Vredendal in the Western Cape, and the new SARD TVET College in Umzimkulu campus in KZN. A full list of the CEFRIs will be submitted to the select committee responsible for small business development. SEDA is also facilitating the establishment of an additional 27 new incubators, mainly in townships and rural areas. The new incubators will assist with the establishment of approximately 1,290 new enterprises that are expected to create at least 25,000 new jobs. Some of the areas the additional incubators are planned for in underserviced provinces and districts, including the district of Sarabatman, Jod Gabi in the Eastern Cape, Fezile Dabi and Harib in the Free State, Sidibeng and West Rand in Gauteng, Amajuba, Ilembe and Umgugudlov in KZN, Mupani and Waterberg in Limpopo, Nkangala in Mpumalanga, Namakwa and Pixley Kasem in the Northern Cape, Dr. KK Kaunda in Northwest, and the Central Karoo and Overberg in the Western Cape. The already existing 79 incubators have assisted SMMEs to sustain 86,000 jobs within the SMME ecosystem partners. Some of these existing incubators include those located in Amatole District Municipality, Ekurhuleni Metro Municipality, Kinkachaya District Municipality, eThekwini Metropolitan Municipality, OR Tambo Municipality, Herigwala, eThekwini District Municipality. The existing incubator footprint covers most districts in South Africa and is the biggest in Africa. Having said that, more work will be done in partnership with private sector. The full list of the location of the incubators will be submitted to the Select Committee for Small Business Development. Furthermore, 4 digital hubs were established and the remaining 2 hubs will be completed in the second and third quarters of the 2021-2022 financial year. The completed 4 hubs are located in Mpumalanga, in Bombela, in Hersibande, in Mahikeng in the Northwest, and Wisavelo in the Free State. In line with the goal of the NDP of supporting small businesses through better coordination of public and private incubators, amongst others, the department has recently established a partnership with NSPAS, the Labs and Foundry program, with the purpose of optimizing resources for the deployment of digital hubs and support to startups. The NSPAS partnership is already operational to complete the Alexander Hub. In addition, the department through SEDA has also partnered with other private incubators, such as the Black Umbrellas network of 7 incubators, the One BioLife Science Incubator in Cape Town, the Propeller Incubator in the Eastern Cape. The Technology Transfer and Technical Assistance Program consists of 3 technology platforms, which are open innovation challenges, supporting SMMEs to solve core supply chain and supply development challenges of large private and public corporates by sourcing innovative SMMEs with specific skills, products, and services that can pitch novel solutions to the challenges. This in turn improves access to markets for products and services of participating SMMEs. The SMME Innovation Forum, which is a sector-specific multi-stakeholder events where sharing of entrepreneurial knowledge and skills by SMMEs, facilitating introduction of latest sector innovations, appropriate technology, and intellectual property. And also investor pitching, which is closing the gap between entrepreneurs and investors, arranging nationwide pitching competitions with judging panels of funders, together with entrepreneurial pitching masterclasses, supporting innovative SMMEs to present their business cases more effectively. And this is built on our work for Pitch for Funding. On technology transfer and skills, technology and skills transfer, we deal with supporting intellectual property training for SMMEs and their protection, lean manufacturing, and other related things. And we also assist with quality health checks and management system, which SMMEs must deploy in their businesses to improve their efficiency and productivity, and product testing to make sure that we promote access for SMMEs to accredited laboratories and certification so that their products and services can meet the necessary standards of both product labeling and compulsory regulations. And also we assist with product design or to assist in and improve product and packaging design for SMMEs. Honorable members, the budget further allocates an amount of 1.25 billion of the transfers of the transfers and subsidies to SIFA for purposes of implementing the Small Enterprise Manufacturing Support Program to enable the SMME Focused Localization Program, Township and Rural Entrepreneurship Program, TREP, SMME Financial Intermediaries as direct lenders to SMMEs and cooperatives, and the part of our contribution to the transformation of our financial sector. The following is the provincial breakdown of expenditure as targeted for the SIFA allocation. Eastern Cape 109.4 million, Free State 109.4 million, Gauteng 255.3 million, KwaZulu-Natal 145.9 million, Limpopo 109.4 million, Mpumalanga 109.4 million, Northwest 72.9 million, Northern Cape 72.9 million, Western Cape 109.4 million, and it totals 1,094 million rands. The Small Enterprise Manufacturing Program, Honorable Chairperson, it is made to enable the work of making sure that SMMEs participate in the localization program. I would like to take this opportunity to reiterate that the localization program is not negotiable. I want to clarify that the program was not thumbsucked as some who want to protect the participation of few in the economy were suggesting. The program was also proposed by the Business for South Africa in their submissions on the Economic Reconstruction and Recovery Plan, and therefore there is a social compact between government, business, labor, and communities through NEDLEC on the localization program. In addition, the 1,000 products that have been earmarked for SMME-focused localization and prioritized for support under the Small Enterprise Manufacturing Support Program have equally not been thumbsucked. They were compiled from lists submitted by large retailers and manufacturers such as Pick n Pay, Spar, Dis-Chem, Clicks, Unilever, Massmart, Aspen, and others. Furthermore, in line with the proposal of the NDP to commit to public and private procurement approaches that stimulate domestic industry and job creation, the ERRP has prioritized the finalization of the procurement bill through the National Treasury. In this regard, the department is finalizing, in consultation with provinces, the selection of 250 out of the 1,000 products that must be designated over a 4-year period for public procurement. We proposed the designation of these products, of these 1,000 products through the DTSC over a 4 to 5 year period because we are fully aware of the need to build local capacity for quantity, quality, and price competitiveness. The 268 million of the SIFA allocation is to the SMME Small Enterprise Manufacturing Support Program. And in this regard, and through the SEMSP, we have already supported a total of 15 enterprises to the value of 125 million out of the 33 enterprises that were approved to the value of 320 million. We remain appreciative of the partnership of the Black Industrial Program under the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition. Some of the enterprises supported include Swane Truss and Timber Sale, which is a roof truss and a tiles manufacturing business that was established in 2014. The business business sells and installs roof tiles and design, manufactures and installs roof terraces. Through SIFA, an amount of 40 million was provided for the purchase of warehouse property, stock and equipment. The business is owned by a black male living with disability. But we also supported Papaya Interior Design, which is a furniture manufacturing company that designs and manufactures furniture for retail furniture brands such as OK Furniture, UFO Furniture, and House and Home. SIFA funding worth 2.9 million for working capital and purchase of assets was granted. The organization is black female-owned manufacturing business. We've also supported Minala Juice, which is 100% black-owned cold pressed fruit and vegetable processing juice and detox cleanser business based in Pretoria. The business is owned by a husband and wife team, Tlachaneni, who's 36, 50, and 51% owned by Kwanele Tlachaneni, who's 46, that's the husband. The business produces organic cold pressed juice at 300 milliliter and 1 liter, smoothies and vital shots. And the juice is made from locally grown fruit and vegetables sourced from the Tshwane Fresh Produce Market. And the business supplies Spar supermarkets, Sasol South Africa, Total South Africa, and Pick n Pay. SIFA assisted Nimal Juice with funds to the value of 4.6 million rand to renovate the current premises, to acquire machinery and stock for expansion. On the Young Entrepreneurship program, the president during the SONA in 2021 announced 1,000 youth-owned businesses that was to be supported in 100 days. The department, closely working with the NYDA, was able to deliver on this project under very difficult conditions with the COVID-19. And the objectives of the Young Entrepreneurship program is to afford young people with business funding opportunities, which will in turn improve their livelihood. Also to increase the participation of young people in the economy of our country and to unlock the potential of young people for them to earn an income, create employment opportunities for other young people while contributing to nation building, and to ignite, contribute, and implement youth-owned businesses that are geared towards growth of South Africa, and to showcase the presidential youth employment intervention. And an amount of 46.2 million was disbursed in the following sectors: agriculture, including agro-processing, arts, education, health, automotive and manufacturing, hospitality, ICT, maintenance and repair, logistics, tourism and recycling, services, textile and indigenous goods, wholesale and retail. A total of 578 of the businesses supported were male-owned, and 422, which is constitute 42%, were female-owned. Gauteng, KwaZulu-Natal and Mpumalanga received 52% of the funding at 23.3 million, supporting 535 entities. The provinces that received the least funding include Northwest, Northern Cape, and Western Cape. Some of the beneficiaries of this program include Kulufelo Mashego, a 31-year-old entrepreneur and owner of Spotless Prestige Laundry Services in Beggarsfort in Limpopo. Kanyiso Nkulwana is a fashion graduate from CPUT, and she has developed a passion in fashion at a young age and learned how to sew and draw. Kanyisa went on to establish Yellow Designs, and that's who was supported. Nzako Shipalane, a young female poultry farmer from Zanin of Akolako, providing training to emerging young farmers interested in poultry farming, and currently employs 3 people. And Mohorosi Modisao Tsile, who's 28-year-old young entrepreneur residing in Mudimong village in Taung in the Northwest. And Muhorisi started his large white and land-raised piggery business in 2015 with only 2 pigs, and he was supported to grow. He currently employs 3 people. We are continuing with this partnership as it is the biggest contributor in ensuring that we achieve the target of supporting 15,000 enterprises by 2024. And those enterprises is young, youth-owned enterprises. On the Township and Rural Entrepreneurship Program, we have previously presented to this House the purpose of the TREP as to elevate enterprises in the township and rural areas previously relegated to the second economy to the mainstream economy, and to further integrate opportunities in townships and rural areas into competitive business ventures. Of the SIFA allocation of 694 million will be channeled towards supporting the TREP to date, and under the TREP, the department and its agencies have supported financially and non-financial township and rural enterprises, such as in the small-scale bakeries and Support Program, which is allocated 17 million of the budget. The program is aimed at supporting small-scale bakeries and confectionaries operating as micro businesses that are in townships and villages to access markets through spaza shops, school nutrition schemes, hospitals, military, and other social relief programs. This is offered in the form of working capital investment that includes bulk buying facility, and also ability to buy equipment. We've also supported, and it will be leveraged on the spaza and general dealer support facility. In the previous year, 83 entities were supported to the value of 7.6 million, facilitating 154 jobs. One of the beneficiaries of this program is Green Health Innovation, which is Spinach King, which is trading as Spinach King. And it's a bakery providing gluten-free spinach bread, which is low GI spinach bread. We are Siakuba even in those advanced technologies things. And it supplies organic stores in Cape Town and Cape Town restaurants, and to including walk-in customers that buy from them. This business is 100% Black youth owned, and was established by Mr. Lufefe Nomanjana in 2019, and it operates from Khayelitsha and Philippi townships in the Cape Flats. We also support the auto body repairers and mechanics program, which is allocated a budget of 300 million, targeting motor mechanics, panel beaters, and auto fitment centers. 42 million is reserved, and also 42 million is reserved for butchery support scheme, targeting 1,400 entities to make sure that we enable, through the scheme and together with the Department of Agricultural Land Reform, we aim to ensure that both smallholder farmers, subsistence farmers, and feedlots become suppliers to the beneficiaries of other schemes and to sell their meats and create market for them. We also have the Clothing and Textile and Leather Program, which is a joint program between CIFA and SIDA, which focuses on skills enhancement and upgrading machinery and equipment for clothing and textile manufacturers. And previously, we've supported 108 entities to the value of 8.2 million and created 271 jobs. And a budget of 70 million is allocated for this program for the 2021 financial year. An example of the beneficiary of this program is Siba and Tubat's PTY Ltd, a 100% Black female-owned business, which was established in 2017. And this business is located in KwaZulu-Natal, and it was also supplied over 50,000 cloth face masks to the Department of Health in KwaZulu-Natal. CIFA, through the TREP program, approved funding of 100,000 to this SIBA enterprise, and 5,000 was converted to a grant, and they utilized that to purchase material. We've supported Azania exclusive collections through the very same scheme. We also have the hairdressers and personal care support program, which aims to make sure that hair salons, personal care services in the micro business space can then participate, are repositioned to become major contributors to the facial and beauty care industry in the country and in the world. We supported also this Chisanyama and cooked food support program, and we have allocated an amount of 13 million on that. Through the Spaza Shop support program, which also supports a Spaza Shop to have access to cash flow facility and credit guarantees through the commercial banks and other banks, we are enabling the participation of Spaza Shop to access financial markets properly. We're finalizing collaboration with Izaka Bank on the same scheme as part of our contribution towards the transformation of the financial services sector by actively supporting the acquisition of clients by emerging Black-owned banks or aspirant banks. The department supported financially and non-financially a total of 10,305 Spaza Shop in the previous financial year, and a budget of 150 million is allocated for this in the current financial year.
As you conclude, Minister.
As we conclude, Chairperson, the department has been working with wholesalers and retailers to list products manufactured by SMMEs. During the financial year that passed, we supported 238 products across 6 product categories. And out of the 238 products, 91 are listed with wholesalers and the rest with major retailers. A total of 76 of the products of these products of SMMEs are based in Gauteng, 59 products, Eastern Cape, 14 KwaZulu-Natal, and 14 in the Western Cape. The numbers in Free State, Limpopo, Mpumalanga, Northern Cape, and Northwest are still relatively and the department is concerned and will work to make sure there is an improvement in the listing. An impressive 77% of these listings are female-owned businesses and 19% are owned by youth. We are pleased to announce that this week, Dear Bella, an organization manufacturing maxi pads made from wood pulp, which is safe and great for absorption in the shelves of Discam. Dermacell Cosmetics is also in the shelves of Click stores, 81 stores of Clicks across the country. Masodi Organics is listed also in Click South Africa, also from this work that we've been doing. And our commitment, Chairperson, is that we continue to aggressively run our buy local campaign in partnership with Proudly South Africa and call on South Africans to choose wisely and buy products that are made in South Africa because it contributes to job creation and economic growth. Buying local produce goods is an act of self-service. And Honorable Chairperson, we are committed to support our women and through our She Trades platform. And at a policy level, we're finalizing the draft Smme funding policy, which will be released for public comment shortly. At legislation, we have finalized and consolidating the amendments of the National Small Enterprise Bill, which we are going to bring to the for the parliamentary processes, and we are counting on the NCOP to support the initiatives for that. We continue to work with municipalities on the red tape reduction program, and this year we are having a dedicated focus on 3 districts where we are piloting administrative simplification program for SMMEs and cooperatives. And the focus on the 3 districts is mainly to make sure that we can maximize the impact of our work. The department is also working to amend the Businesses Act of number 71 of 1991 to provide a simplified uniform business licensing framework and establish norms and standards for business licensing by municipalities. Honorable Chairperson, we agree with the wisdom of Ode Lode that the master's tools will never dismantle the master's house. They may allow us temporarily to beat him at his own game, but they will never enable us to bring about a genuine change. Through our work, we continue to abandon the master's tools and work to ensure that our work inspires the development trajectory of this country to set firm targets for the number of millionaires and billionaires the country must nurture for a true economic transformation and radical economic transformation in our lifetime. Thank you, Ndoribu Nakensa Inkomu Tobela Datokos.
Ndolibu Minister. The next speaker is the chairperson of the Select Committee, Honorable Khai.
Mandibulela kakhulu sihlalo wendlu ndibulise kusihlalo we-National Council of Provinces sekela lakhe Mama Sylvia, ndibulise ku-Chief Whip, ndibulise kusihlalo ojongene nezamalungu kwakunye nezikazwelonke, ndibulise kuba ko-MEC abakhoyo basuke emaphondweni, MEC umvoko Sithonga Zithathu, MEC umkhatshwa, MEC uMagama, nawo onke amalungu endlu nabathunywa abasuka emaphondweni. I take this podium mindful of the words by President Cyril Ramaphosa in his magnificent State of the Nation address, when he said that people of South Africa, it is your country that calls on you to rise. The Department of Small Business Development heeded the call by the President of the Republic and have made strides to create opportunities for South Africans to rise. The trajectory taken by the department to enable South Africans in the small, medium, micro enterprises and cooperatives to rise has been tremendous in the current unpleasant times. Our nation, as part of the international community, got affected by coronavirus pandemic. The invisible enemy is not only claiming lives of many of our people, destroying families and changing our lifestyle. It has also crippled our economy and posed a great threat towards the survival of small, medium, micro enterprises and cooperatives. In response to the pandemic, the African National Congress-led government is not restricting pandemic to merely consist of health aspect, but we are taking a multifaceted approach to address the health, social, economic, and even psychological effects of the pandemic, while implementing the economic reconstruction and recovery plan, whilst among its key objectives are to reindustrialize the economy through a focus on small businesses and cooperative. The virus has proven to us that dependence on foreign markets and imports for basic needs create imbalance of trade and may lead to stagnation of the economy when the international trade is restricted by the closing of borders as a mechanism to curb the spread of the virus. Therefore, small businesses and cooperatives are strategically placed at the apex of the economic reconstruction. Our reindustrialization process has shown some positive light in the agriculture and the mining sectors. The two sectors continue to register quarter-on-quarter growth. This is enabled by our decision as the African National Congress to ensure that the agricultural sector continues to operate and provide food security for our people. This was done in line with all the health and safety regulation. While in the mining industry, the sector was brought back to full production capacity and also by taking into consideration the health and safety measures. The decision we took are not only benefiting large corporations in the two sectors, but we have noticed that the implementation of the SMME's focused localization policy framework has resulted in the introduction of over 385 SMMEs and cooperatives to the value chains of large retailers and wholesalers. Most of the products in such markets are agro-processed goods, while in the mining sector, the SMMEs and cooperatives in the service sector are increasingly benefit from the industry. The localization policy framework is broad and encompasses all economic sectors in which SMMEs and cooperatives operate. Take, for example, the manufacturing sector. The president in his State of the Nation address referred to the 1,000 products that have been identified for production by SMMEs and cooperatives within the localization policy framework. The policy will create jobs, expose SMMEs and cooperatives to new opportunities, and integrate them to the local and international markets. Our people will produce their own products, symbolize their heritage, and show the world their talent through entrepreneurial mechanisms. The department is making progress to make arrangement in partnership with the standards bodies and regulatory authorities to ensure that SMMEs and cooperatives are not frustrated and unfairly restricted by the regulatory protocols. It is our revolutionary task as African National Congress to create equal opportunities and an inclusive economy through the department. The department's focus on manufacturing sector is enabled by its progressive program known as the Small Enterprise Manufacturing Support Program. The objectives of the program include increase the relative contribution of the manufacturing to GDP, grow manufacturing employment targets, change the structure of manufacturing to high-tech manufacturing, increase labor productivity, and drive economic replacement through locally manufactured goods and increase of export in manufactured goods. The department also implemented the COVID-19 Emergency Fund, which saw many SMMEs and cooperatives apply for assistance. The fund rescued many SMMEs and cooperatives from unprecedented debt. The reality in our nation is that in terms of SMMEs and cooperatives, literature and research has proven that 5 out of 7 of the new enterprises do not survive through their first year of invention. The COVID-19 Emergency Fund and the SMME Debt Relief Fund become beacon of hope for many small enterprises in our country. The established funds I've mentioned play a significant role in providing a supportive and well-oiled financial infrastructure that is essential in the medium to long-term basis to encourage sustainable, viable, and significant improvements in access to SMMEs and cooperative financial stability. The African National Congress understands that economic growth is dialectically related to business growth. This means that the economy cannot thrive only through consumption, but there's a need for the existence of businesses across all sectors. This recognition has led to the department to implement the Business Growth and Resilience Facilities Program, which has led to several incubator programs in the information, communication, technology system sector. This is in line with the technological advancement that are evident in all sectors. We must make a clarion call to the SMMEs and cooperatives to participate in the information system sector. It cannot be that innovation presented through the invention of 5G, machine learning, artificial intelligence, and 3D printing, to mention but a few, are reserved for big corporations. Our people must grab opportunities that are presented by various technological revolutions. The department is not only focusing on the opportunities in the formal economy, but the department has established initiative known as Improved Informal Support through CEDA. The initiative is targeting to capacitate and support 9,276 spaza shops and 4,638 fruit and vegetable vendors situated in township and rural areas in the medium expenditure framework of 2021-2022. Honorable members, these are not just figures, but these figures symbolize our people who on a daily basis, no matter the weather condition, conduct their businesses to provide financial stability, food security, shelter, and decent healthcare to their families and ultimately their communities. These are South Africans who heed the call by the president to rise because the nation needs them. Honorable members, allow me, as the president did in the State of the Nation, and dedicate a stanza from the poem by Maya Angelou, titled Still Arise, to the department, SMMEs, cooperatives, and all South Africans who are striving to rise despite all the challenges due for us. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, arise. Into the daybreak that they wondrously clear, arise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the dream and the hope of the slave. Arise, arise, arise. Out of poverty, class antagonism, and gender struggle, look up to the African National Congress through the department to afford us with the opportunity as a nation to rise. I thank you, Honorable House Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Khai. The next speaker is Honorable Boshoff.
Honorable Minister.
Boshoff.
Thank you very much. Honorable Minister, Honorable House Chair. Last year, the Deputy President, when addressing the NCOP in an oral question session, indicated to the House that government would introduce a new program in 2021 to help small businesses with incubation and access to markets to revitalize township and rural economies. He went further to say that the Department of Small Business Development would be championing the product market program by focusing on the refurbishing and repurposing of industrial sites as well as other municipal owned properties in order to transform them into product markets. The program will be implemented in the Eastern Cape, the Northwest, Limpopo, Mpumalanga, and KwaZulu-Natal. Honorable Minister, South Africa cannot achieve an inclusive economy if township and rural areas are not meaningful participants in the mainstream economy. Unfortunately, like the rest of the world, South Africa was also hit hard by the COVID-19 pandemic, leaving many small businesses shutting their doors as they had nowhere to offset their products. This is something that Mpumalanga clearly cannot it cannot afford it, especially in light of the expanded unemployment rate of 47.6%. Those are the latest statistics, and it's the third highest in the country. On the other hand, Minister, you and your department spoke broadly about the initiative you put in place to assist them, whereby you would match SMME brands and wholesalers, and in doing so, stimulate the demand. If this was the case, why did we see so many businesses in townships and rural areas closing their doors, leaving many employees without a job or a future to look forward to? Honourable House Chair, I would like to turn to Mpumalanga. It's your province as well, and it's called the Province of the Rising Sun. Unfortunately, I don't see the sun rising because here we have the Mpumalanga Economic Growth Agency, MEGA, which is one of the parastatals mandated to create jobs in the province. But as with many government entities, it is practically broke and will do little to nothing to assist in building the township and rural entrepreneurship program in the province. According to the 2019-2020 provincial and national audit outcomes released on 31 March 2021, MEGA's finances were 373% in the red and will therefore not be able to commit and realize its expected mandate, leaving the citizens of Mpumalanga reliant on assistance to open businesses in the lurch. Honourable Minister, it is evident that the oversight role to be done from a national point of view is clearly lacking. If the Department of Small Business Development had intervened and had taken steps, MEGA could have been on the path of positivity and not a path of dysfunctionality. The ever-growing population of Mpumalanga are now facing a depressing and bleak future in terms of job opportunities. The creation of MEGA was to fund SMMEs and businesses, but alas, they too have failed the citizens of Mpumalanga. Honourable Minister, looking at your annual performance plan, you are going to support 28,000 township and rural enterprises to the value of 694 million, financially and or non-financially, during this medium-term expenditure framework period. As we are already in June, it would be great if you could indicate how many have been supported to date and what the form of support was. In South Africa, SMMEs are expected to function as a driving force in the country's social and economic stability, and it is therefore of cardinal importance that this department is seen not only supporting metro townships, but the truly rural townships and areas of the country. By broadening the support base, one will see small business contribution to the GDP surpassing the current 30% mark and see them absorbing more unemployed into the labour market. Honourable Minister, looking at the city of Cape Town, they have extended a hand of support to the sector through its business hubs. The city of Cape Town has recognised that many small businesses are at a loss and looking for support to rebuild or start afresh, and is therefore committed to supporting SMMEs to combat the economic impact of COVID-19. This business hub has been established to support SMMEs and entrepreneurs by offering practical business solutions, entrepreneurship programs, as well as advice on navigating governmental procedures and compliance requirements. This business hub has distributed 3,000 SMME COVID-19 toolkits containing the essentials to help get business back to work safely. The City of Cape Town is in its final stages of this business support program in collaboration with Productivity South Africa. This initiative is aimed at assisting businesses in distress by proactively addressing their challenges. The ease of doing business, Minister, in South Africa is still problematic. Even with the name change from red tape in 2014 to ease of doing business and back again to red tape, businesses are struggling. Under the current circumstances that this country finds itself in following the COVID-19 pandemic, this department will have to start thinking out of the box if it wants to remain relevant. With an unemployment rate rising at an alarming rate, the Department of Small Business Development must look at alternate measures to stimulate the growth of this sector, to enable them to create an environment to employ the unemployed. Once again, the City of Cape Town, under the governance of the Democratic Alliance, ranks first in relation to the ease of doing business indicators. The city is clearly committed to SMME development. Their strategy is to concentrate on the ease of doing business principles used by the World Bank to measure the government's commitment to a business-friendly environment. The result of this strategy is that Cape Town is a sought-after destination for investors to invest in small businesses that create a fertile ground for job creation. Honourable Minister, it is clear that ill-considered and detrimental municipal bylaws make it very difficult for entrepreneurs to do business and create much-needed job opportunities. Furthermore, Minister, to create a business-friendly environment on a local level, municipalities need to embark on ease of doing business legislative campaigns aimed at removing all barriers that hinder SMME development in their jurisdictions. As you are aware, Honourable Minister, small businesses are the most critical drivers of economic growth, innovation, and job creation, but they require local municipalities to concentrate on enhancing the environment for entrepreneurial activities. Government must use its powers and functions to free small businesses from the clutches of red tape. Minister, in conclusion, small business successes must be you and your government's #1 priority to ensure that South Africa remains competitive in the global market. Unfortunately, we see and experience the hardships of our entrepreneurs across South Africa due to the government failing them with regard to the ease of doing business test. And Minister, furthermore, with the Minister having two portfolios, namely Minister in the Presidency and Small Business Development, shows clearly how important small business is to you and your government. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Honorable Ngwezi.
Thank you very much, Honorable House Chairperson. Honorable Chair, may I be allowed to speak from this arrangement? Honorable
Which
Minister,
arrangement?
This unseen arrangement, Honorable Chair.
Okay, you are allowed.
Yeah, thank you very much. Honorable Minister and honorable members, this department has put before us a vote for the promotion of small businesses and cooperatives that contribute to inclusive economic growth and job creation in South Africa. Inkatha Inkululeko Yesizwe has always been clear in its policies that the government must facilitate the competitive development of small businesses. While acknowledging that there are different players under the category of small businesses, the IFP believes that most young people are found in this category and that this department must support them. To ensure meaningful and competitive small business growth, the IFP implores the government to provide more sensitive and stimulatory support to businesses. This will help them to increase their market share of domestic and international goods and services. To make this happen, the government must continue to liberalize domestic and financial markets, taking into account emerging trends in financial technologies so that this country is not left behind in innovation and uptake of new global financial opportunities. The IFP notes that 248 million rands has been budgeted in the medium term to the sector and market development, which will intensify the establishment of infrastructure to expose small and medium enterprises to new markets. We call upon this department to use these funds wisely to provide affordable, safe, and modernized spaces for small enterprises to meet potential buyers. This is not a call for the state interference with small businesses, but a call to the government to do its part in supporting small businesses. The government should also make capital available to small businesses. In this regard, the IFP acknowledges the little support that this government gave small businesses to cope with COVID-19, although we believe that more should have been done. In the light of the devastating effects of COVID-19, ICATA calls on the government to consider lowering the income taxes of small businesses to increase their profit margins and to make them more appealing to the youth. ICATA further notes that about 27 million rands is set aside to amend legislation to regulate the licenses of businesses run by foreign nationals. While acknowledging the importance of such potential legislative amendments, the IFP repeats the call to prioritize South Africans in the small business sector. Amabhizinisi amancane awaqokelwe kakhulu abantu balapha eNingizimu Afrika, hayi abantu abaqhamuka kwamanye amazwe. This is one of the quickest ways to close inequality gaps. The IFP implores this department to intensify its support for startups and small businesses through the budgeted 2.6 billion rands to the small enterprise development agents. This is not a small fund. We certainly hope that it will not become a feeding trough for the politically connected. When properly utilized, this fund can increase investment in townships and provide support to small businesses that are not supported by the commercial banks and other financial institutions. Noma kunjalo-ke sihlalo, i-IFP iyayeseka le budget ebekwa phambi kwethu, kodwa siyeseka ngaphansi kwemibandela eqinile ukuthi abantu bakithi baseNingizimu Afrika ibona okumele babekwe eqhulwini ukuze bakwazi ukuzuza kuzo lezi mali encane okungabekwa ukuthi zincane, ngoba zincane nje kodwa funa zibe zincane ukusiza abantu baseNingizimu Afrika, ikakhulukazi abantu abasha nabesifazane. Ngiyathokoza kakhulu.
Thank you. The next speaker is the Eastern Cape MEC of Finance, the Honorable Mvoko. Honorable Mvoko.
Thank you very much, House Chair. Can I request that I speak without the video? I'm in Sunday's River Valley, where if you.
No, it's fine.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson, the Minister, members of the NCOP, colleagues from other provinces, ladies and gentlemen, Molweni. Honorable House Chair, firstly, the Eastern Cape Province would like to congratulate the Minister and indicate our support to the budget vote for the Department of Small Business and Development. Her presentation confirms the government's commitment to grow the economy of all the spheres of government and is also aligned to a National Development Plan 2030 goals and other policy initiatives that have been developed by the government to grow the country's economy. Honorable House Chair, the Eastern Cape Provincial Development Plan, aligned to the NDP 2020, places the SME sector at the center of jobs creation and put targets that must be achieved by 2020. The SME support plan is various areas that are critical for the competitiveness and sustainability of the smaller enterprises. The programs that have been articulated target women and youth to provide support, infrastructure support, and business development services. The drive to have business incubation in townships and rural areas will assist in ensuring that the enterprises operating in this space are provided with needed institutional support for them to expand and play a meaningful role in the main economy. Most of these enterprises are often forgotten and relegated to obscurity as they operate in the periphery of the main economy. We're looking forward on how we can collaborate with the department to make this a reality in the Eastern Cape. We in the Eastern Cape Provincial Government have approved the Provincial Business Incubation Strategy that is aligned to the identified PETS priority sectors, and this collaboration with the Department of Small Business Development is very critical to ensure sustainability of existing business incubators as well as new ones that will be established. The collaboration with the private sector-driven business incubators is important to strengthen the enterprise development ecosystem and streamlining of resources. Honorable House Chair, the department is collaborating with the Department of Small Business Development on identified areas for the reconstruction and economy recovery strategy. And the area includes the following: financial support through our ECDC on short and long-term loans, non-financial support in the form of assistance with development of quality management and SAPS certification, informal sector support in the retail, which is a pilot that we have, textile, manufacturing and service sectors, and local procurement. We have observed that considerable progress has been made in establishing digital hubs, and we also wish to call on the department to include the rural provinces such as the Eastern Cape province in their plans, particularly to assist grassroots innovators to benefit from government support programs. The drive to support SMEs through the designation of 250 products from the targeted 1,000 products over a 4-year period must be applauded. The decision to expand the Small Enterprise Development Agency network services to every district must be welcome, as it will assist in addressing the challenges that SMEs are confronted with at local level and will serve as a one-stop shop. As the Eastern Cape, we have put aside 40 million rand in the current financial year to support the informal economy interventions that are aligned to some of the sectors identified in TRLP. We have targeted 1,000 enterprises that must benefit. The nature of the support is both financial and non-financial and will be implemented in collaboration with the Department of Small Business Development and its agencies. The targeted 1,000 businesses will each receive equipment, tools, machinery, and implements to the value of 30,000 rand. This financial support will be complemented by necessary businesses to register training and coaching. The purpose of this initiative is to assist businesses to transition from being informal to formal businesses so that they can be able to participate in opportunities that are presented by public and private sector. The department provides an incentive scheme that is administered by ECDC for purchase of machinery, equipment, and inputs to a maximum of 30,000 per applicant operating in 4 identified sectors, which is manufacturing, leather, textile, and clothing, as well as auto aftermarket support interventions and services. Through collaboration with CEDA, capacity building and training will be provided to the beneficiaries for the incentive scheme. For compliance with legal and regulatory framework, joint information sessions will be held with SARS and DORA. This program is at an advanced stage of preparation and will start roll out in the middle of this month, which is June 2021. Furthermore, we have identified areas of collaboration with the department that are aligned to the SMME plan and look forward to finalization of the memorandum of understanding between the two parties. I believe that issues of communication gaps with SMMEs will be addressed through such partnerships in order to provide feedback to them on status of their applications. That concludes, Honorable House Chair. I wish to reiterate that we remain firm in our resolve to develop the SMME sector and the informal sector. We encourage women and youth to participate in the creative sector for employment opportunities. As such, we welcome the support from the Department of Small Business Development and the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, who have jointly made available a relief fund of 23 million rand to support these sectors in the current financial year. The fund will seek to provide relief support to the following sectors: audiovisual, visual arts, craft and design sector. With those few words, the Eastern Cape government welcomes the budget vote for the Department of Small Business and Development, and we support it.
Thank you. As I call the Western Cape chairperson of the Standing Committee of Finance, Economic Opportunities and Tourism, Honorable Batman, the Honorable House Deputy Chairperson of the NCOP, Mama Lucas, will take over. Honorable Batman.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Chairperson, in March 2020, President Ramaphosa placed South Africa under level 5 lockdown restrictions, forcing businesses to close their doors in order for the healthcare sector to prepare for the first wave of COVID-19 infections. The shutdown of economic activity, both locally and internationally, led to the loss of 2.2 million jobs, and the Western Cape experienced 321,000 job losses, which was less than the other comparative provinces such as Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal. Key industries such as the tourism and hospitality industry were hard hit along the construction industry, and SMMEs were in particularly quite vulnerable. The tourism industry is showing a slow recovery, particularly over the past Easter weekend a few months ago, where the domestic market led the way, and there was a 65% recovery of domestic arrivals at Cape Town International Airport. In response to the severe impact that COVID-19 has had on the economy and the future economic prospects of the province, the Western Cape government responded in 3 different ways to protect and stimulate economic activities. We lobbied national government for easing regulations and restrictions which balance lives and livelihoods, particularly in the tourism, e-commerce, and construction industries. We provided business support through various programs and policies. We promoted foreign direct investment. In terms of business support, this consisted of the launching of a COVID-19 content center in partnership with Wesgro and the city. It provided support and advice to businesses during the pandemic and helped them with interpreting the legal requirements related to lockdown regulations. And we launched a COVID-19 support finder, which helped businesses navigate and access various different financial relief packages. And one can find this at supportbusiness.co.za. We launched a Jump app, which is a one-stop shop for existing and potential business owners, which give them access to resources they need to start, scale, and grow their businesses. And any person can download this on the Android or iPhone at bizjump.co.za. We launched a hashtag Go Digital Western Cape campaign to help businesses take their services and products online and adopt digital technologies in their business models, including webinars, articles, and tech volunteer campaign, which linked businesses with skilled professionals. In terms of our red tape reduction unit within the department, we assisted entrepreneurs to start a business where they also could register and work with them regarding the reduction of red tape issues. We supported 250 ECD centers to safely comply and reopen through this unit in the department, as well as assisting informal and unregistered formal businesses to become registered, and created and sustained more than 1,000 jobs, in particularly mostly for Black females in the province. In terms of the COVID-19 relief fund, we launched this fund. 38 million rand was distributed to 249 small businesses, which saved 2,000 jobs. We launched a community economic recovery project, which distributed 3 million rand to 225 community kitchens for food relief, and spent that at over 122 local spaza shops. We launched the Tourism Product Development Fund, which distributed 5 million rand to support new and existing tourism products and experiences. And despite it being a national entity, we assisted the George Airport, working with all the stakeholders in order to reopen the airport safely, which has seen great recovery since the support of 2 million rand by the Western Cape government. We assisted tour guides we collected the respective information, and more than 5,000 tour guides information was submitted for the relief packages from the respective Department of Tourism nationally. In terms of COVID-19 business safety kits, we distributed 11,000 kits to small business and informal traders. In terms of occupational health and safety, we partnered with an agency to assist businesses at no cost to ensure that businesses comply with COVID-19 regulations, and 459 businesses received assistance in this regard. And we launched a SMME Booster Fund, which supported 400 SMMEs and created 400 jobs. And these were all different steps which have been effective, with 146,000 visitors using our support business site. More than 2,600 inquiries have been fielded, and over 6,900 businesses have used the COVID-19 support finder, and the red tape reduction team has dealt with 1,248 inquiries and assisted in supporting businesses with the delayed UIF TERS payouts to the value of 43 million rand. We have also supported more than 500 businesses with resolving complex COVID-19 workplace safety and non-compliance matters. In terms of skills programs, the Department of Economic Development and Tourism has 3 youth employment programs specifically. It is the ICT Technical Skills Program, the Work and Skills Program, and the Artisan Development Workplace Program. In terms of the work and skills program, during the pandemic, 1,700 unemployed youth were employed in the BPO sector through the BPO initiative, of which 1,166 were offered full-time employment, and 1 BPO had a cohort of more than 500 beneficiaries, of which more than 90% were offered full-time employment. Due to the success, we have now allocated in the Western Cape a further 98.8 million rand over the medium term to provide 3,000 unemployed youth with experiential learning opportunities within the BPO sector. And in November 2020, the Western Cape launched a first of its kind BPO Academy in order to fulfill this need within a growing sector. At the Saldanha Bay IDZ, 2,450 beneficiaries were also benefited in terms of development programs over the past 4 years, and more than 1,500 visits have been made to the SME CoLab Center. And through our Westgro Export Advancement and Promotion activities for the 2020-2021 year, in terms of export training and mentorship, which the courses were done online as well. In terms of the export training, 148 companies were assisted, and in terms of the mentorship, 56 companies were assisted. But Chairperson, there is one matter that I do need to reply to. The Minister in her speech originally indicated that the Western Cape can't take over CEDA and cannot manage the service delivery in the Western Cape in terms of managing CEDA. But I have done inquiries quickly, and the CEDA is a national entity with a national competence. So if she is claiming there's no delivery by the CEDA, then she has admitted on record in the sitting that her department is not delivering services in terms of the CEDA agency. However, if she is willing to give us the entity with the mandate and the funding, she's welcome to WhatsApp me at 083-302-4132, and the Western Cape will take it further from there. Chairperson, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Bartman. We are continuing with the debate, and we will request now Honorable Al Lalihet Marikhane of the African National Congress to continue. Marikhane, do you have a problem? Honorable Marikhane, if we can't get hold of her, can we then now call on Honorable V. Mkachwa of Mpumalanga, MEC, Finance, Economic Development and Tourism? Honorable Mkachwa.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, Honorable Deputy Chairperson. Let me acknowledge the Honorable Chairperson, the Chief Whip, the Minister of Small Business Development, Honorable Kumbuzo, the Chairperson and members of the Select Committee, members of the Provincial Executive, delegates from the provinces. We entered this policy debate mindful of the fact that on the 16th of June this year, we will be commemorating, celebrating, and memorializing 45 years of youth confrontational bravery and unwavering resolve to defeat unjust laws of apartheid misrule. We shall continue to draw strength and learn from the relentless resilience of the generation of 1976. The generation of 1976 was a phalanx of young men and women of high moral stamina, determined to fulfill their generational mission, and unwittingly, they raised the tempo of the struggle for liberation. Chairperson, in our quest to fight against the deadly virus of COVID-19, we shall do so with the resolve, tenacity, and uncompromising fighting spirit of the generation of 1976. It is without doubt that the black swan events of the coronavirus had a devastating and negative impact on the small businesses. As the consequence of these effects, most of the small businesses became a dead duck in water. They could not survive the omnipresence of the virus. However, as Amilcar Cabral posits, when your house is burning, it's no use beating the tom-toms. It is against this backdrop we ought to forge ahead with the plans to resuscitate the economy of the province amid the presence of the pandemic. Chairperson, in the context of Mpumalanga and like in any other part of the globe, the pandemic ravaged the sector and left an indelible impact on the small businesses. It has fundamentally disseminated small businesses' operations and simultaneously contributed to unemployment. However, the provincial government, together with its entities, made some significant interventions to caution small businesses from the destruction of the pandemic through the provision of the SME relief funds. In the context of tourism, as the provincial government, we have thus intervened and helped businesses who operate in the tourism sector. This is because the sector is the goose that lays the golden egg for the economy of the province. In this regard, we have allocated 10 million rand to assist tourism businesses whose operations were affected by the hard lockdown. The intervention is part of implementing the Mpumalanga Economic Reconstruction and Recovery Plan, as pronounced by Premier Refilwe Mtsweni-Tsipane. The plan outlines the following overarching priorities aimed at assisting SMMEs: planned massive rollout of infrastructure, growth through industrialization, localization, and export promotion, sufficient, secure, and reliable energy supply and green economy initiatives, growth and recovery of tourism, agriculture, and food security. Chairperson, we have also reprioritized the implementation of the Township and Rural Entrepreneurship Program in order to support businesses operating in the townships and rural economies. Consistent with the above, we have established partnerships with SEDA, SEFA, and NYDA in the province to assist SMMEs with business development support and funding as our deliberate response to mitigate the impact of COVID-19 to SMMEs in the informal sector and businesses operating in the rural and township setting. We have also brought in our entity, the Mpumalanga Economic Growth Agency, to assist in providing funding to SMMEs, and this we do as a direct response to the impact of the pandemic to the entrepreneurs of the province. The Honorable Premier of Mpumalanga Province, Ms. Refilwe Mtsweni-Tsipane, in her State of the Province address, pronounced that her office has established the Mpumalanga Youth Development Fund with a tune of 50 million to assist youth-owned businesses. As the department, we continue to work closely with the Department of Small Business Development, particularly in the area of SEDA technology program across the province, supporting innovation-based entrepreneurs. Finally, Chairperson, the province is in the process of developing industrial parks in its 3 districts to house SMMEs in order for them to leverage their potential and participate in the economy of the province. I am quite optimistic that working together and with conviction, we shall defeat the pandemic and recalibrate the economy and give the mass of our people the necessary jobs they so need and deserve. We hereby support the budget as presented by Minister, and we are combat ready to work with the Minister to ensure we achieve the goals of government of building a crop of successful SMMEs consistent with the vision of the National Development Plan. Chairperson, let's grow the economy of South Africa together by empowering our small businesses. I thank you very much.
Malibongwe.
Thank you very much.
Lailanga liphuma khona.
I'm just trying again to hear whether Mama Rekhane is possibly already back on the platform. If not, we will continue. And I hope I'm still on the right track when I call on Honorable Apleni.
Thank you very much, Mutamash Tulu.
Yes, you continue. Is it
Nakenza
Mama Rehane or is it Brenda Matebula? Okay, you are for continue.
Chairperson.
Yes, Ms. Matebula.
Kutava mina lo ni nga ta va ni karhi ni debate on behalf of Honorable Aplain.
You're welcome to continue.
Na khensa Mutamaxitulu.
Inloco.
Minister, the department objective are to facilitate the development and the growth of small business and cooperative, to contribute inclusive and share economic growth and job creation through public and private sector procurement, to facilitate partnership with all small spheres of government as well as the private sector. It is extremely disappointing to have noted that this department being so invisible to young Black people, especially women and people with disability who have the ambition to start small business but lack funding and guidance feeding on their own because they don't know anything about this department. We have on numerous occasions suggested here programs that should be directly taken to deep rural areas to make young Black people aware of the opportunities that this department offers. The most unfortunate thing is that currently it is the few connected individuals that are benefiting from this department. Young people who wish to contribute and start their own businesses in the Baza, Buffalo City in the Eastern Cape cannot do so because they are not aware of the opportunities that are there for them. When they look at what was supposed to be an economic zone that turned into a white elephant, they still think that the people who should run business there are white investors from somewhere in Europe. Millions of rands that this department supposed to invest in young Black people still cannot be traced as a result. It is not be seen. This money is only spent into the few connected people. The young people who have built themselves shacks on main road of Elliot Dane in Bashe to sell fuel next to the road. They are victims of daily robberies because this department has never been visible to them to support and show them how could they develop their business to fully functional and safe business. A young woman in Devana, Anati Senti, who started a poultry business, keeps on watching her chickens dying on a daily basis because she is not aware of the assistance that she could get from this department. Even when she is told of this department, the officials keep on sending her from pillar to post. In a country where almost 55% of unemployed, this department should give a meaningful role in facilitating opportunities for young people and creating jobs through small businesses. The EFF has long suggested that production of basic daily use goods must be locally produced. These include items such as glasses, cup, plates, spoon, and pots, tiles, and energy efficient building materials and furniture. The EFF has long called for small and medium-sized enterprises to be given a strategic support, and legislation must be passed to ensure that key industrial input and service are given necessary support. To the classification of street traders' goods must be prohibited. How do you profess and seek to promote a small business and yet you still classify the goods of trade?
The department must establish youth information and advisory centers to inform, educate, and guide young people on possibility opportunities that this department can offer. Minister, ku komba ku ndzawulo ya n'wina a yi tekeli nhlokweni van'waswibyana leswintsongo exikarhi ka mavabyi lama hi nga eka wona sweswi. Ndzawulo ya n'wina yi tsandzekile ku pfuneta van'waswibindzana lavatsongo hi swisirhelelo swa ku va nga tluleriwi hi xitsongwatsongwana xa corona. Minister, I reject a budget vote leyi na khensa.
Thank you, Honorable Matibula. I will just ask now again, is Honorable Mama Rehane ready before we continue?
Thobela motlatsa modulasetulo, Dimasiari Minister, Honorable Deputy Chairperson, the most celebrated thinker, Karl Marx, once said that, open quotes, revolutions are the locomotives of history, close quotes. This means that societies bear the imprint and birthmarks of their own past. All changes in society, whether we like them or not, are shaped by the present and past circumstances. Marx also indicated that revolutions do not happen on their own. They must be instigated, shaped, and harnessed by the people. In our process to instigate, shape, and harness the revolution, the ANC carefully identified its motive forces in the National Democratic Revolution. Honorable Deputy Chairperson, the NDR correctly theorizes the struggle faced by the Black women in the three-pronged interwoven struggles stemming from the national cohesion, class antagonism, and the gender struggle. In the past, the women were restricted to only perform household duties. In this way, their labor was commodified through domestic mechanism and did not bear prospects of actively participating in the broader economy. This reality created the nucleus of the three-pronged interwoven struggles. The ANC knows that only theorizing the past will not change the current realities, but theory must be coupled with practice. The core principle of our practice in government in addressing the three-pronged interwoven struggles faced by the women is visible through our decision to prioritize women-headed small, medium, micro enterprises and cooperatives by targeting a minimum of 40%. Honorable Deputy Chairperson, the 40% target is the minimum. This means that the Department of Small Business Development has a task to expand its medium-term strategic framework to mainstream more than 40% of women-headed SMMEs and cooperatives to the local and international market. Honorable Deputy Chairperson, the mainstreaming process is not restricted to certain industries. We are proud to announce that a woman-owned business known as EcoGift is on the verge of producing clothing for large clothing chains. Young people and persons with disabilities also face systematic restrictions and challenges to penetrate through the local and international markets. To solve this plight, the medium-term strategic framework has also targeted to implement mainstreaming policies that will enable 30% of SMMEs and cooperatives headed by young people and at least 7% of those headed by persons with disabilities. Honorable Deputy Chairperson, as we speak, young South African emerging manufacturer produced a beautiful watch known as Nkari watch. The watch is not only beautiful, but a symbol of innovation, talent, and indication that when public procurement is used for the benefit of the people, the market can be penetrated and SMEs and cooperatives can be capacitated to produce products that can compete in both the local and international markets. It is a known fact that the pandemic has exposed SMEs and cooperatives to financial stagnation because most of them do not have large investment to protect them during the hard times. Therefore, they look to the government for assistance. Honorable Deputy Chairperson, the department's public procurement processes have been solely based on protecting, capacitating the struggle SMEs and cooperatives to survive the economic stagnation. The COVID-19 Emergency Fund and the SMEs Debit Relief Fund have rescued many
House Chair. House
Yes,
Chair.
yes, co-chair.
Yeah, ingaku iba khatini ayen ka next speaker. Hey, kuna problem ya network alipump.
No, I understand, but can you allow me to preside over the house? I can see that there is a problem. It seems we have lost Mama Rehane, Honorable Mama Rehane. And then we will now continue and we will call on Honorable Jay Lond to continue with the debate.
Thank you, Deputy House Chair. I think Honorable Matagula
Even
wanted to
make me a
step.
deputy house chair. You can at least make me a house chair, but not a deputy house chair.
But after you were promoted to Deputy President, I think we should all average it out. But colleagues, good afternoon. And we're in debate season. And in preparation for another debate, I was thinking back on all the plans and the promises that were made over the past few years. And I was reminded of another another shiny policy and promise that the ANC-led government concocted as one of their solutions to other problems that we are facing. And this time I was reminded of the South African Economic Reconstruction and Recovery Plan, which President Ramaphosa presented and framed as the action South Africa needs to take in order to rebuild the economy. On paper, this plan has everything that we need to get our economy back on track. However, one look at the budget for Department of Small Business Development and you realize the only way small, medium and micro enterprises can be part of the economic recovery drive is on paper, because this is where the ANC shines brightest. But President Ramaphosa is wrong. He's wrong. There needs to be a more concerted effort to stimulate the SMME sector. And SMMEs in developing and developed countries usually contribute significantly to the GDP and job creation. Unfortunately, this is not the case in South Africa, with the president admitting that in South Africa, formal businesses, they make up a far smaller contribution to employment and the GDP as we should have liked and as gets done in other developing countries. Are we even surprised by this submission? As a small business, you need a functional state. You need basics such as stable electricity, safe neighborhoods, and an investment-friendly climate that allows SMMEs to thrive. But most importantly, you need a competent government with employees that serve these SMMEs, not cadres that look after themselves. If we shift away from the promises to the actual relief that was provided to SMMEs when the COVID-19 pandemic hit, this department reprioritized 500 million for SMME debt relief scheme, which would be administered by the Small Enterprise Finance Agency. The entity received just under 36,000 applications, of which 14,451 were fully completed. Unfortunately, of those fully completed applications, only 1,497 were approved by CIFA to the value of 513 million, of which, unfortunately, only 316 million has been disbursed. However, even this wasn't enough to stop the destruction of 42% of SMMEs closing down in the first months of 2020 due to lockdown, according to FinFind. And how can we speak about advocating for SMMEs and not mention the fact that the Gauteng province recently published a draft Township Economic Development Bill? This bill seeks to prohibit foreign nationals from participating in economic activities. This is an exclusionary bill that is not putting the best interest of all the people that live in South Africa at its heart. The Gauteng government wants to exclude certain people and only include some people. Should we be surprised, since this is actually a policy of the ANC to exclude the majority of the country and only look after the closely connected few? This new bill is unconstitutional and it will be challenged. There is, however, a champion for SMMEs, and it is not just a plan in writing or on paper. It gets done in practice here in the Western Cape by the DA. Whether it is through the Ease of Doing Business bill we have tabled that seeks to provide assistance to businesses in overcoming red tape and the cost thereof in existing regulatory measures, or by following examples of how easier things are made for SMMEs where the DA governs. If you want to take practical examples, it takes 91 days to connect a customer to the electricity grid here in the city of Cape Town. However, it takes much longer in cities like eThekwini or Johannesburg. The city of Cape Town also ranks top in relation to construction permits, with new businesses taking 88 days to obtain all the necessary licenses and permits, and completing these required notifications and inspections is almost doubled in Johannesburg to a 155-day period on average. No wonder Cape Town was named the top opportunity city in Africa by PricewaterhouseCoopers. It is also no wonder that the city of Cape Town has been ranked the top metropolitan municipality in South Africa when it comes to the ease of doing business, according to the latest World Bank research report. Cape Town understands the stresses SMMEs are under. Therefore, they have developed a mobile business hub that will be able to reach more SMMEs in need of support and guidance. By going into communities across the city to assist these entrepreneurs and SMMEs in setting up or improving their businesses through advice, training, workshops, networking opportunities, and importantly, by reducing red tape. The city knows that SMMEs are the backbone of the economy and therefore act accordingly. When it is all said and done, this budget will not benefit SMMEs moving forward. SMMEs are in survival mode, and therefore the only way to get them out of this bind would be to have a proper structure in place. It is clear that a pre-COVID ANC-led government had not implemented the relevant structures to ease the burdens on SMMEs. An in-COVID ANC government has not done any better. How can we trust a post-COVID ANC government to do any better? It is time to put the vote with the party that have proven in action they care for our small businesses. I thank you.
Take some water for that cough. We will continue with the debate, and we will now call on the Honorable Deputy Minister, Rosemary Papa, to continue with the debate. Honorable Deputy Minister, over to you.
Deputy Chair, I'm advised that the Deputy Minister is not available.
Okay, now so we will continue, and we will then now call on the Honorable MAP De Bruin to continue with the debate.
Thank you, Chairperson. The dream of being an entrepreneur or a small business owner in South Africa has sadly ended up in a nightmare for new as well as existing small business owners. This department and the governing party have failed miserably, and that at the expense of small business owners in general. For more than 2 decades, the ANC government could not succeed in establishing a healthy economy and ensure basic service delivery needed for small business development. And to provide grants for a select few is simply not enough. For any business, big or small, a healthy economy is crucial, and basic services and access to proper infrastructure is needed. The impact of load shedding and the horrifying state of our roads and transport systems impacts any business negatively and adds to the long list of difficulties experienced by business owners. As ons kyk na die duisende besighede wat al deur moes sluit die laaste paar jaar, veral na die swak hantering en onrealistiese beperkings van die COVID-19 pandemie, is dit duidelik dat die ANC-regering nie die belange van besigheidseienaars op die hart dra nie en direk verantwoordelik is vir die vernietiging van kleinsake ondernemings, hul behoud en hul drome vir die toekoms. Talle besighede op plattelandse dorpe wat as gevolg van politieke gewin by metrorade ingesluit is en nou ook metrotariewe vir dienste moet betaal, kan dit eenvoudig nie bekostig in die swak ekonomiese klimaat wat geskep is deur die regerende party nie. Maar weer eens, heg die ANC geen erns hieraan nie en dien hy eerder net homself en 'n paar uitverkore kaders. Plaas daarvan om eerder ekonomiese groei te stimuleer en dienste te verseker en sodoende kleinsake ondernemings volhoubaar te maak en werkloosheid te bekamp, plunder die ANC en sy kaders eerder die staatskas en die toekoms van opkomende besigheidsmanne en vroue. New small and medium enterprises are an important vehicle to address the challenges of job creation, sustainable economic growth, equitable distribution of income, and the overall stimulation of economic development. New SMEs suffer from a high failure rate in South Africa, and the high failure rate of new SME paints a bleak picture in the SME sector's potential to contribute meaningfully to job creation, economic growth, and poverty reduction. SMMEs, in effect, are not growing fast enough to meet the National Development Plan targets, which envision that the segment would contribute up to 80% of GDP growth and generate 90% of an estimated 11 million new jobs by 2030. The segment would have to grow at the rate of at least 20% a year to achieve the NDP goals. Obviously, this growth is unrealistic, as South Africa has a higher failure rate of SMMEs than elsewhere in the world. 70 to 80% of our small businesses will fail within 5 years. This clearly shows that the NDP, government, and BEE has failed in totality, and that this department is also failing in totality. Surely this department can't be taken seriously when it doesn't even have its own minister allocated to it. Rather shut down this department and reallocate the funds to stimulate the economy, create a sustainable environment with effective service delivery for small businesses to survive in. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable De Bruin. We will now call on Honorable Brattesett to continue with the debate.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Chair, I have difficulties today with my signal. It says it's unstable. So if it's okay, I'll have to just do it on this basis. Honorable Chairperson, Honorable Minister, the Department's budget report represented at the Select Committee lays out their objectives as follows. They refer to developing an environment for entrepreneurship. They refer to enabling legislative and policy environment to support growth and sustainability. And they talk about a transformed economy, increasing employment, and the reduction of poverty and inequality. And all of these are admirable goals, and I do believe that the department in some way is trying to achieve this. However, we are stuck in an antiquated quagmire, Honourable Minister. The simple bottom line is that Honourable Gai said, how can it be that only massive corporations have access to technology to make things easier and cheaper for businesses? And Honourable Boshoff even spoke about thinking out of the box. Now, Honourable Minister, I want to tell you today is that your department is missing a massive trick. There is technology that can enable businesses to obtain loans, to transact with businesses, with banks at zero costs. There is technology that allows small businesses to obtain loans at 0% interest and only pay interest, a small interest, on their turnover. This is called financing the fourth industrial revolution at scale using cutting-edge fintech, in particular CBDC and digital assets, and will enable South Africa to finance and mentor the new birth of enterprise and development that can bridge the currently and historically financially excluded into the economy, creating a larger economy. South Africa has a large educated youth population, but at the same time, a large number of graduates who are unemployed or underemployed. Investing in building the local economy from the ground up in urban and rural areas will require collaboration of many to achieve the successful placement of capital. With the right skill sets, mentorship and risk mitigations, and providing the sector with access to offtake agreements. There are initiatives such as For Us Digital that have created a solution to enable this and are preparing to roll out a new payment digital asset and impact investment solution to over 27 million South Africans. The system they are rolling out globally that will enable all people to participate in new financial markets. These systems can be used in agri, merchant inventory, fintech, property, tourism, student accommodation, circular waste, indigenous community finance, sports code, transition township development agencies, a trade union cooperative bank, film and insurance. They also include exciting options like digital wallets that are free to use. So the Minister, the question I have for you, Minister, is why has this been completely ignored? Is it because your department wants to keep SMMEs on a short leash of patronage? Does the department fear that SMMEs that are independent will migrate to DA municipalities and provinces that are open to digitalization of finance options? Or is it simply because the department has no clue of what I'm talking about? Honourable Minister, the time to move into the 21st century is long overdue. The time for change is now. Siyabangana. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Bratiset. To continue with the debate, we will now call on Honorable Dangor.
Chairperson, if I can follow Honorable Tim in not using my video. Honorable Deputy Chairperson, Honorable Minister, Honorable officials. Professor Mahmoud Mamdani, in 1996, in his book called Citizens and Subjects, best describes the effects of the British colonial direct and indirect rule. He alludes to the fact that in rural areas, then termed homelands, the colonial rule took the form through indirect mechanisms that were enhanced by distorted forms of customary law. People in rural areas were ruled indirectly through their tribal authorities. The authorities had limited control on the resources vested in their land and could not harness economic activities for the people in this way. People in rural areas could not participate in the broader economy. Chairperson, to go on to say that on the other hand, our people were imprisoned in the townships and served as sources of cheap labor, according to Mamdani in 1996. Townships symbolized direct colonial rule. Spatial development was evidenced through the separate development policies encroached and were enacted through the parliament and on the sovereignty of this country. We still suffer today from the same spatial problems, and this is why we have the problems within municipalities and local governments. It is because of that spatial development that we have not overcome yet and that we still need to fix. Honorable Chairperson, the rural areas and townships are characterized as hubs of struggle. Indeed, Lenin was correct when he said, revolutions are the festivals of the oppressed. We experience the festivals of the oppressed masses in all townships and rural areas. This means that they were not conducive for business and that the current struggle to transform these places into hubs of economic growth and create sustainable markets. It was Polanyi in 1980, in his book, The Great Transformation, that said in a chapter titled Markets and Man, emphasized that human beings shape markets and that the invisible hand of the market is not independent. Therefore, we have the arduous task as the African National Congress, government, business, and labor to create markets that will consist of the invisible hand of the market dictated by the people in the rural areas and the townships. The Department of Small Business has a task to create a transformed and inclusive economy driven by sustainable, innovative SMEs and cooperatives. The task of the department is not exhaustive or restrictive. It is broad, mindful of the fact that SMEs and cooperatives are not homogeneous. The department has identified small business in rural areas, townships as important components for the reindustrialization and localization programs. The programs are interlinked with the progressive policy of special economic zones in the rural and township economies. Honorable Chairperson, this is not just a wish list. In my own province, Gauteng, there is a construction that is currently underway, the Tshwane Automotive SEZ. The provincial government has identified Tshwane as one of the special economic zones for the automotive industry. The construction project through SMMEs and cooperatives has created jobs, training, and development opportunities in the communities. We know that 34 targeted infrastructure work packages in the area of 22 were subserved by local SMMEs and cooperatives that have successfully executed to the value of 170 billion. The lessons from the Tshwane Automotive SEZ are clear. The partnership between the department and its agencies and business and labor can be fruitful towards the sustainability of SMMEs and cooperatives. It is also clear that the department has an arduous task which requires financial stability to meet all its mandates. Further, Chairperson, a clarion call needs to be made to the private sector to contribute to support the SMMEs and cooperatives. Our call is on the basis that when SMMEs and cooperatives in the rural areas and townships are not supported, the inequality rate will widen, crime rates will drastically increase, and economic stagnation will be the order of the day. When such things happen, they do not only have a negative impact on the SMMEs and cooperatives, but is also affected the big corporations. Our sentiments are best described in a book called The Spirit Level by Richard Wilkinson and Pickett, where they argued that the inequalities affect both the disadvantaged and the affluent societies negatively. Therefore, the responsibility to support, protect, and strengthen SMMEs and cooperatives in the rural areas and townships is a collective effort. We also need to emphasize that the department is working hard to expose SMMEs and cooperatives in the rural areas and townships to the opportunities that are created by the various industrial revolutions. This is done through programs facilitated by SEDA, which involves incubation of SMMEs and cooperatives into information systems and communications. SEDA is currently ensuring that there are 27 new incubators, mainly in the townships and the rural areas. This will establish approximately 1,291 new enterprises and create 25,000 new jobs and sustain 86,000 jobs within the SME ecosystem. Honorable Chairperson, I would have committed an injustice to the SMMEs and cooperatives in the rural areas and townships if I were to leave the podium without speaking about the Township and Rural Entrepreneurship Program, TREP. The program is strategic. It is a vehicle to transform and integrate opportunities in townships and rural areas into productive business ventures. The focus is to create platforms which will provide the business support infrastructure and regulatory environment that enables entrepreneurs to thrive. The program consists of sector-focused programs that are shaped by the type of SMMEs and cooperatives operating in the rural townships and the areas. The program are the following: small scale businesses and confectionaries to support the program, auto body repairers and mechanics that support the program as well, butchery support program, clothing, leather and textile support program, fruit and vegetable support program, personal care support program, spaza shops support program, and a cooked food support program. Honorable Chairperson, I know that most of us enjoy eateries situated in the rural townships, and I would like to invite some of the opposition members in particular to come to Kumalo Street and see what is happening there. Chairperson, let me just return to the Republic of the Western Cape. The Republic of the Western Cape talks about investment there. When the investment champions go out into the world, they don't go out as investment champions for a particular province. They go out as the investment champions for the entire South Africa and not for a separate republic. Chairperson, also, I think one of the biggest exports to the townships like Westbury and El Dorado Park and Ennerdale from the Western Cape has been the exports of gangsterism. Now, I've walked in Mitchell's Plain, I've walked in Rostov, I've walked in the Strand, I've walked in all of those areas. The Western Cape needs to actually deal with the question of gangsterism that is spilling over from the Western Cape into the other areas. When we talk about investment as well, Honorable Tim, the question of risk versus margin in banking is an important one. Risk versus margin is what compels bankers to lend or not to lend. Now, 500 billion was set aside. 250 billion of that was set aside for the banks to on-lend to their own clients and to others to encourage people during the COVID time to have some form of funding. Only 37 million was advanced. So I think the private sector needs to look at themselves and look at themselves very carefully so that they become a partner in the development of South Africa and not only leave it to the other sectors. With that, I want to thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Dambor. We are going to go towards conclusion, and we will now call on the Honorable Minister for Small Business Development, Honorable Kumbutso Nchaweni, to conclude the debate.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Chairperson, for this opportunity. I'd like to first extend my appreciation to the members of the ANC and those parties who have supported us in this budget vote. And to Honorable Mandla Rai, the Chairperson of the Select Committee, it is indeed consoling and encouraging to have the full backing of the Select Committee in reaffirming and supporting the implementation of localization. And we commit to yourselves that we are not going to be deterred. We'll continue to soldier on to make sure that our SMMEs can participate in the productive economy of our country and contribute to the growth of the economy of this country as part of our journey towards building a meaningful economy. And to Honorable Ngwezi of the IFP, we really value your support in this journey for fighting for the SMMEs to be supported and to grow and to make sure that those who are in our townships and rural areas do not remain in the margins of our economy, but they can be elevated to participate in the mainstream of the economy. To Honorable Mvoko and Honorable Mkachwa, our MECs, we are encouraged by the continued relationship and collaboration that we have with the provinces and all other provinces in making sure that we deliver this mandate. Indeed, alone we won't be able to do it. We'll do it jointly with yourself. But I thought Honorable Mkacha will take the opportunity to educate Honorable Boshoff around the role of MEGA and the work of MEGA in that space. Today, I was pleasantly surprised by Honorable Brosterchet for the meaningful contribution and not the politicking. Indeed, the emergence of the fintechs and amongst other digital economies give us an opportunity to massify the support to SMMEs at a quicker rate and also at a cheaper pace and a faster pace. And we are working on that. We have been, a part of our work around the incubation digital hubs is to make sure that we play in that space and encourage the support. And we collaborate with the Department of Communications and Digital Technologies in supporting the fintechs and other digital technologies that can be used or deployed to support SMMEs, including online markets and online trading that is possible through the technology. Honorable Dango, you have saved me the time to explain the so-called Republic of the Western Cape. Maybe Honorable Boshoff, if you had I'm glad first that you have listened to our Deputy President very eloquently, but I'm very disappointed that you've chosen not to listen to me when I was explaining the program around the hubs that as committed by the Deputy President last year that we have built. And if I can go to Mpumalanga, we've announced two digital hubs in Mpumalanga, one in Bombela, another one in Gert Sibande. And we've announced incubators in Mpumalanga, in Ehlanzeni and in Kangala. But of course, if you were in touch with the ground, you will equally know about that we've started to run pop-up markets as part of building towards those refurbishments of industrial parks. And the MECs have explained the work that is being done to refurbish industrial parks, not only by the Department of Small Business, but the Provincial Departments of Economic Development and also the DTIC, because majority of the industrial parks belong to the DTIC. And in the Free State, we've started to work in those industrial parks in Botshabelo, and that's where the digital hub of the small business development, it's operating from, and we've indicated that it's already operational, and we are also launching a robotics program in that digital hub of Botshabelo, amongst others. And Honorable Boshoff, this thing around the city of Cape Town being the major city, the whatever, maybe we must start to measure what it matters. You say city of Cape Town leads on the IMF ease of doing business, but why are we continuing to evict informal traders in the Grand Parade and in Gatesville? Is it easy to do business for those informal traders in Gatesville and in the Grand Parade that continue to be evicted? And the continuous harassment by the Metro Police of the city of Cape Town at the taxi rank of, what is that called? That major taxi rank in Cape Town. Is that easy for them to do business? So your selectiveness of type of businesses that you support, it doesn't help us, because our work is about making sure that those who are excluded in the economy can participate equally. So your continued protection of the minority and in the expense of the majority and the poor is not really supported. And Honorable Bartman, maybe it's the first time you are here, or at least finding you in this debate, because listening is a skill. I had said, and I'm going to quote, CEDA took over the Red Doors Business Information Centers from the Western Cape Provincial Government, because the Western Cape Provincial Government did not have the capacity to continue with those red doors. And this year, we are starting an assessment to relocate those few red doors that are in the major cities of the Western Cape to the townships and rural areas of the Western Cape, so that our people can have access to this, to the Business Services Center. And maybe they should have told you and Honorable Boshoff and Honorable Lund, that these mobile business centers that you talk about, the mobile business hubs, is copied from the CETA mobile business centers that we are running in the country. And we have not started them this year. We've started them 3 years ago. We moved from one district to another. We moved from one municipality to another to register, to help small businesses register their business, complete forms, help with compliance with SARS and UIF, those who are registered with UIF. And Honorable Lund, maybe you must ask for a special debate on the Economic Reconstruction and Recovery Program, which you eloquently say it's a very good program. But that program is the one that we're implementing around the localization program, support of informal businesses, support of township and rural enterprises to be part of the mainstream, participating in the productive economy of our country. And what is good with that program is that we've got targets of 3 months, 6 months, and 12 months. We'll bring you a report if you ask specifically on our work as it relates to that report. But what I find amazing from you, Honorable Boshoff, is that in your criticism of the Township and Entrepreneurship Bill of the province of Cape Town, of Gauteng, you say, the bill will exclude the majority. I don't know if you read the bill. The bill seeks to set aside certain sectors of the economy for local South Africans to participate. And since when is the setting aside or preference of local South African excluding a majority? I thought the majority in this country must be South African. And our support is to South Africans, and we will support that. And to Honorable Matebula, I need to buy you a book on fallacies of relevance. But just for summary, these fallacies of relevance commonly appear as a last resort when evidence or rational arguments fail to convince the listener. And I have nothing more to say about the EFF. And Honorable Deputy Chairperson and Honorable Chairperson, thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for supporting the budget vote.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Wonderful.
Wonderful,
Minister.
Thank you,
Bring us to the end of the business of the day. Let me firstly thank the ministers, the deputy ministers, the special and permanent delegates, as well as SALGA representatives that availed themselves today for the debates. And let me also thank the honorable members, particularly as well as the honorable members of the executive, for the very productive week that we are just concluding. I wish you all a blessed weekend. The House stands adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Deputy Chair.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, Mama.
Thank you,
China,
Mama.
you're out of the house now, you can talk.
Papa.
Siyabonga, Mama.
Thank you, Mama.
It's a very good week. Hard week.
You can say that, Mama. That again.
Thank you very
Very
much.
hectic week. Have a blessed weekend.
Blessed cold weekend.
Siyabonga, Mama.
Yeah. Home and stay safe, please.
Siyabonga, Mama. Siyabonga, Mama. My province was here. Two. Two MECs.
You are very much, you are too much. The province of the rising sun.